myself. I'm more committed to my clients. Yes, I like money. I am Nigerian. We love money. But for me, once we've decided on what you're going to pay me, all that matters to me is the results I get you. Because for me, it's about the bragging rights. It's about, as you mentioned, me helping Watchbox get that $100 million investment from the Hong Kong group because they saw the publicity I got them. So for me, it's about bragging rights. But back to your question, I started the agency because after a while, even though I became one of the top salespeople at Turno Watch Store, I was depressed. I was earning like I'd have a $70,000 sale day, and I'd go home and just be completely depressed. I was a number two salesperson at the store, and then finally, I just made the decision, and it was July 2024 that I said, all right, I'm going to stay through Christmas because that's when you earn the most money at Turno. And then on my birthday, which is December 30th, I'm going to quit and go on this journey. That is ultimately what I did. I have to tell you, it was not as smooth and heroic as I'm framing it. The day came, it was December 27th. That was the day. And I woke up that morning. I'm like, I don't have another job in place. This is stupid. I can't quit. Let me just stick around with Turno as long as I can. And then after that, I'll make. So what ended up happening, my manager at Turno, has got to be one of the most soulless people that I've ever met. She decided after I did, what was it, $180,000 in 27 days in sales of watches. She decides to bring me in to yell at me about something I did back in October. She's one of those people that needs to, put her foot down or whatever. And then as she's yelling at me, I say, you know what, Lee, stop right there. I quit. And I always think about that. Had she not brought me in on that day, the day
Yep.
I was supposed to quit, that I was afraid to quit, I would never have quit. So it's always interesting to me the way that I feel like we're all interconnected in ways that we don't understand. Lee gave me the push I needed to face a fear that I was afraid to have. And then what built the agency thereafter, I called the sales rep for Dubé and Sheldon Brown watches. I was the number one Dubé and Sheldon Brown sales rep in all of the Turnos. At the time, I think there was only 12. Turno now it's owned by Bucra, if anybody's looking for it. So Turno, Bucra bought Turno, so it's not called Bucra. But anyway, I called, but his name was Buddy, and I'm like, hey, Buddy, you're going to have to find somebody else to sell your watches because I'm off to start my own agency. And he's like, you know what? Our US distributor has been looking for a PR agency. So I ended up starting my agency, taking Dubé and Sheldon Brown as my first watch brand from the distributor, Clerk, Aquanatic, and Volno Watches, which I launched. It was a Russian watch brand. I launched it in the US. The distributor also had two watch stores in New York. So
Mm.
that's how this journey started. And
Mm.
and I wish I could say it was all roses from there, but it was not. Entrepreneurship really shows you what you're made of.
Very good. Well, you could say, you didn't have the courage to do it, but someone was looking after you.
Well, I've had to acknowledge something when it comes to the definition of courage. Courage is not the absence of fear. It's looking
Oh,
at that fear and doing it anyway.
yeah.
So I tell people I am not fearless in any way. I'm scared all the freaking time, but
Yes.
I know I have to do it because for me, I believe in doing what's right and not what's necessarily easy because
Yes.
I know at the end of the day, and this goes with my clients, it goes in my philosophy in life, I need to look at myself to be able to look at myself in the mirror. So,
Yeah.
and I know that I don't like regret. That when the time comes when I leave this mortal coil, I'll be able to look back and say, you know what? I'm glad I did that. There's nothing, there's very few things that I regret. And the things I do regret, I found that those things led me to something a lot greater than I realized. There were pain that I needed to go through in order for me to see something more than what I was able to see if I had not endured that pain.